Good morning, students. How you guys doing? How's everyone at home? I hope you guys are keeping safe. Please make sure you keep yourself safe. All right. How's been the video so far? That is the online class video. Hope you guys have been enjoying everything taught. Especially talk about the last video, which happened to be for week 4, where I talked about the third and fourth political parties in Nigeria. Sorry, I said the third and fourth republic political parties in Nigeria. No, before now we've discussed the first republic, second republic, but now we're discussing the last video we discussed third and fourth republic political parties. And you all remember that third republic happened to be an abortive one, whereby it seeks to make use of two party system, whereby we had SDP and NRC, and SDP was represented by Chief MKO Abiola for their presidential election, which was believed that he won, but later it was being abandoned and rubbished. And moving on from there, you see that after that one we had one military government or the other since that 1993 until 1998 when General Abdulsalam Abubakar handed over the government back to the civilian, whereby election was conducted and ceased to the leadership of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo in 1999. And since then till now, Nigeria has still or is still or has been enjoying civilian government. Okay, that's a summary for the last video. So let's go quickly to this week uh, video, or that's this week's topic, which happens to be military rule in Nigeria. Again, I say military rule in Nigeria. And this topic actually covers week 5 and week 6. And before we go into details, we'll go to the behavioral objectives. That is what we are expected to learn at the end of this lesson or at the end of this video. At the end of the lesson, the students should be able to, one, discuss the historical background of military rule in Nigeria. Number 2, highlight the characteristics of military government in Nigeria. Number 3, discuss the reasons for military government in Nigeria. Number 4, highlight the achievements of military rule in Nigeria. Number 5, discuss the structures of military regimes in Nigeria. And number 6, highlight the weaknesses of military government in Nigeria. Now, all these we're going to be discussing one after the other. So, follow me as we go to the first one, the historical background of military rule in Nigeria. In the early hours of January 15, 1966, Nigeria witnessed the first ever military coup led by Major Chukwuma Eziogu and other majors in the army. It was a bloody military intervention in the political history of Nigeria. It was a bloody intervention, but it's a bloody coup whereby a lot of people were killed, and in the sense that some key political leaders were killed. For example, the prime ministers at that time, which happened to be Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, was killed. Chief S.L. Akitola, which happened to be the premier of the Western region, was also killed. Minister of Finance, Chief Okotie Ebo, Sir Amadu Bello, the premier of Northern region, and many other top ranking officers in the armed forces were killed in order for them to take over the power. And they handed over the power to Major General Aguiyi-Ironsi, who came into the scene to take the mantle of leadership of the country, and his tenure was short-lived. Moving on, a counter coup was also staged on July 29, 1966, and Lieutenant Colonel Yakubu Gowon took over the political leadership of the country. And as a result of that, General Yakubu Gowon spent 9 years in office, but was later removed by Brigadier Murtala Muhammad. In fact, I need to tell you this, that General Yakubu Gowon was the longest serving military head of state in Nigeria history. So after spending 200 days in office, Murtala Muhammad was assassinated in an abortive coup led by Lieutenant Colonel Dimka on February 13, 1976. What that means is that he was assassinated, but the coup didn't actually take over the government. So the next to him, the next in command to him happened to be General Richard Obasanjo. You know, he succeeded Murtala Mohammed to become the head of state, and this was the military. It was at this time that the military kept its promise of handing over power to democratically elected civilian government. That was what led to the Second Republic of 1979 to 1983, whereby we had the first executive president to be Alhaji Shehu Shagari, whereby he ruled the country for the for just one term, which happened to be 4 years. And as a result of that, the civilian government was going for the second term in office, that is from 1983 and moving on, when Major General Muhammadu Buhari, through a military coup, sacked democratically elected government. And this, they became the head of state as at that time. And in 1985, also, General Ibrahim Babangida removed Buhari on August 27, 1985 to be precise, through what we describe as palace coup, and subsequently made him the president of Nigeria, abandoning the title of the head of state. Now, palace coup is a moment whereby the government is being hijacked or taken over without killing anybody, without shedding blood, without making it a bloody coup. What actually happened then was that Buhari and his entire government was sent for to the holy city, that is Mecca, for a regular. Muslims normally go for their holy, that is to go to the holy city, that is Mecca, to pray and do some certain prayer. So before General Muhammadu Buhari could come back, Ibrahim Bagida has already taken over, and for him not to die, he had to stay away. So General Ibrahim Babangida was there for few years, experiencing some unsuccessful coup attempt, which was staged against him by Major Gideon Oka led coup. That happened to be that happened in April 22, 1990. And we also had Vasta coup attempt in December 1985. These there were a lot of coups, but these were the major coup attempts, but it failed. So this made Babangida to live between 1985 to 1993. Was in power, but he later retired from army after stepping down. That is stepping aside in 1993, and he had earlier set up an interim government, which happened to be Chief Ernest Chonekon to be the head of state, and Lieutenant General Sonny Abacha. Again, I said Lieutenant General Sonny Abacha also sacked the interim government and assumed the new military head of state. And Abacha was there between 1993 to 8th of June 1998, whereby he died on the position, but he was later succeeded by General Absalam Abubakar. And General Absalam Abubakar handed over the government to the civilian government in 1998. In 1999. Before this could be done, election was conducted, whereby Nigeria had lots of political parties, and whereby sought to the leadership of People's Democratic Party, as the whereby Chief Olusegun Obasanjo happened to be flag bearer. He won the election, so he was there for 8 years. He spent 8 years in as a president of Nigeria. So as I during those moments, PDP happened to be a major party, leaving other parties to be a minor party. So this is a brief historical background of military rule in Nigeria. Now, moving on to the characteristics of military rule in Nigeria. The first one there is hierarchical and centralized. That is, the structure of the military is hierarchical and centralized in the sense that they all have hierarchy. The top ranking is the one who is sitting at the central seat, that is serving as the head of state, and they're also making use of what we refer to as centralized system of government or centralization. So whereby the government is only seeking the power, and decision making comes from a single government, which is the central government. There's nothing like state government or state local government. So the power and decision making is actually coming from the top, which happens to be the center. That is the from the only the federal government, not like the state government or local government. Number two, discipline and obedience to higher commands. That is, these are considered as fundamental importance. For that is, they always listen, obedient, being obedience to the higher command. That is, whoever that is the highest rank give command to others. Number three, dictatorship. You know, every form of military setup is a dictatorial, whereby they dictate. There's no room for consultation or lobbying of mind. There's not like that. They dictate whatever they want to do. And number four, there is opposition. The military did not give room or did not tolerate any form of opposition. Number five, suspension of constitution. Yes, they do not operate with a constitution, rather they operate with a decree, which is a kind of a command or statement of the mouth. Number six, we have absence of the rule of law. Supremacy of law is out of place in a military rule. Suspension of constitution supports the claim that is, there's nothing like a rule of law or equality before the law, right to penal law, and many more things like that. You know, there's no constitution, and sort of like there's no fundamental human rights. So there's no freedom of speech, there's no freedom of movement. You don't have rights at all in the military government. That led us to number seven, decree. The laws are made through using the issuing decrees. That is a command, and once it's been issued, every lower authority we have to obey. Number eight, instrument of violence. The military, check it anywhere in the world, always monopolize the chief instrument of violence in the political system. That is, they take things by force. That is why you see that they take government by force. Even when you know that if you are asked to leave, you will not leave. So that's why most people were killed during this time. That for them to gain power. This is what we call fusion of legislative and executive arms. That is, the highest body is the military rule. In the military rule issues decrees as well as policy making. That is, while there's not like a legislative arm of government or executive arm of government, the military head of states make rule over the country through their decrees as well as policy making. Whatever they decide to do is what they want to do. They don't consult anybody. Then involvement of civilians. Civilians were also involved, whereby they are being made use of in the administration. They are working as an administrationist. Okay. Now, leaving characteristics of military rule now to another subtopic, which happen to be reasons for military intervention in Nigeria. And you can see the first one, then tribal loyalty. You must have been wondering that what actually led to the intervention of military rule in Nigeria. Why did they have to come into power? Number one, there is tribal loyalty. This is a problem facing in Nigeria as a nation. Tribal loyalty takes precedence over loyalty to the central government. That is, a lot of people who are actually in power favor their tribes. That is, Nigeria has several ethnic groups. So whoever at the toppest position always favors their their tribes in terms of development, in terms of distribution of allocation, in terms of economic wise, and many more. Like the number two, there is regional differences. That is, differences among the regions were so acute as to precipitate prices, leading to direct assumptions of power. The sense that there are a lot of regions whereby there as at then we're using regions, and regions now in today's time we can refer it to as states. So there were a lot of differences between all these regions, and which led to a lot of crises and many more. And we also have number four, regional and state-based political parties. Political parties in the First Republic were all regional political parties. That is, they were all state political parties. In fact, none of them commanded a nationwide support. That is, there is none of those this party that cut across the whole nation. That is all that they have offices in all the 36 states in Nigeria. For example, we have the NPC for the north, which happened it was only for the northern. We have the NCNC for the eastern people, and the AG for the western. That is Awolowo's party. And this polarization of political parties can actually cause friction among them, and of course, does not make for unity. And this actually caused a lot of friction, which led to a lot of crisis. Now, we also have polarization of the army. The army or military of the First Republic maintained a status quo and thereafter became politicized. They became so political. Whereby appointments and promotions were based on tribal and political sentiment, not on seniority or merit, which was not supposed to be. It's still what I discussed about tribal tribalism. So a lot of people were just being promoted due to the fact, since because they are the one in power, they have to promote those people who are from their tribe, and political sentiments were being put in place. So this is one of the reasons why military government took over. Another one there is dispute over the census result. That is another reason for military involvement in politics in Nigeria, was because of the 1962 and 1963 population census results. And the first in 1962 was rejected, as many people claimed the result was falsified. That is, the result was changed, or rather we can say that maybe they added more people, unknown people to it. They increased, they inflated the number, and that the figure were inflated. So as a result, it was cancelled, and another was staged in 1963, and this was also rejected on the same ground. That is, it was also claimed that the figures were inflated. So the essence of the population census cannot be ignored, and this explains why most of the results were inflated. That is, for example, it is needed for revenue allocation, constituency delimitation, boundary adjustments, allocation of seats in the parliament, etc. Because the kind of government we are practicing give room for every locality to be represented. So we want to know the number of people in a particular locality, to know the number of constituencies they will be creating, and likewise the amount of revenue that will be going for every state in every month. Now, we also have other reasons for military intervention in Nigeria. We also have general election crisis of 1964. If you don't know about it, go to your textbook, it's there. General election crisis of 1964 is there. Read through it and you see what actually happened. That is, then we also have the action group crisis of 1962. That was a crisis between Chief Obafemi Awolowo and Chief SL Akintola's people. So the two groups in the western region, facing each other. So read through through your textbook. We also have Western Nigerian election crisis of 1965. Still the same set of people. Allegation of corruption, nepotism, and sectionalism is also one of the reasons. Low level of economic development, as at that time, was also one of the reasons for military intervention. absence of honest and reliable leadership, that's a reason, and also mismanagement of public funds. So all these and many more are the reasons for military intervention in Nigeria. Now let's look at the achievements of military rule in Nigeria, because look, with this history, people are having one military government or the other coming in and going out. There must have been one of the things that they've achieved. Okay, so achievements of military rule in Nigeria. Number one, infrastructural development, such like construction of roads, airports, bridges, establishment of higher institutions. Yes, the military government actually achieved. This is one of the achievements of the military um, government in Nigeria. They construct a lot of strong roads, airports, bridges, establishment of higher institution, that is university, tertiary institution generally, and so many other construction like that. Another achievement is breaking into units. The military prevented the country from breaking into units as a result of the Nigeria Civil War. If normally the Civil War it was not, or should I say, did end well, Nigeria would have broken into different units. But as a result of military government, they helped in preventing the country from breaking into units. Another achievement was that the military initiated various programs. For example, this was aimed at improving the economy of the country. I said, for example, iron and steel industry was put in place. Operation Feed the Nation was put in place, and many other programs. They will also have state creation. The military succeeded in the creation of states and local government council. For example, 12 states were created out of the former four regions on May 27, 1967. I hope you still remember that. First of all, we had three regions. Later, it changed to four, and later it changed to 12. And also, we had 19 states on February 3rd, 1976, which were created by Murtala Muhammad administration. And I'm moving on to the achievement. We also have encouragement of regional corporations. That is General Yakub Gowon, for example, was one of the founding fathers of Economic Community of West African State, that is ECOWAS. You can see that you can see the achievements of military government or military rule here. Another achievement is that Nigerian foreign policy was put in place. The military brought about a positive change in the Nigerian foreign policy. For example, leading the struggle against apartheid and colonialism, thereby making Nigeria a frontline state. In fact, let me tell you, Nigeria is a centerpiece of foreign policy in Africa. So Nigeria actually represented the African country in the foreign affairs. And moving on, another one was local government reforms. This did not this they did in 1976 and 1990, making it one-tier local government structure. That is, this was especially 1976 local government reform. It brought about it brought about local government structure whereby it was being made to become one of the tiers of government. You know, we have three tiers of government: federal government, state government, and now in 1976, local government was reformed to make it three tiers of government. Another achievement was that they brought about a new constitution whereby it was promulgated based on the presidential system of government in 1979, and it was the constitution that ushered in the Second Republic in Nigeria. There were also mass orientation programs. The military initiated oriented programs like DEFRI, ND, OFN, and many other programs like that. Promotion of national integration, that was where the NYC, who happened to be the federal government schools, we have the NYC, the federal government schools, quota system, etc. They were all established now to promote national integration. For example, the National Youth Service Corps is one program that is being established in 1973, and mainly to bring about national integration. When we talk about national integration, that is to move from to go to one community or the other. In fact, actually, I have a knowledge of some states in your country, Nigeria. The youth, after their university education, were moved to different parts of the country in order to promote better understanding of one another, either culturally, socially, or politically, and many other reasons. We also have another achievement there, change in the pattern of driving. It was the military government that changed the pattern of driving in April 2nd, 1972, whereby Nigeria changed from driving on the left hand side to the right hand side. Nigeria was being colonized by the Britain, and Britain, their steering is always at this side. But as at on April 2nd, 1972, it was changed to the right side so that because we are right-handed people. Another achievement is the creation of federal and state university, polytechnics, and college of education, were set up. So now military government also helped in the aspect of education by, creating federal universities, state universities, federal polytechnics, state polytechnics, federal college of education, and state college of education. And another was that new capital territory was also created during Murtala Muhammad and Obasanjo's administration, whereby Abuja took over from Lagos as the new federal capital territory. So it was during Murtala Obasanjo's regime that there was change of capital territory from Lagos to Abuja. So if you don't know, before the capital territory of Nigeria happened to be in Lagos, but it was later changed to Abuja during Murtala Muhammad and Obasanjo's regime. Okay, now moving to structure of military regimes in Nigeria, that is the structure, how it's being the in-house, how it's being set up, the hierarchy, and many more like that. Now, the first one is the Armed Forces Ruling Council. That is, this was the most supreme body which performed legislative functions, and this was composed of the service chief, the top-ranking military officers, Inspector General of Police, Attorney General, and with the President as chairman. That is, whoever that is standing as the chairman, or as the president or the head of state, is the chairman of this armed force ruling council. Then the second one there is the Council of Ministers. It was composed of the president, vice president, and the ministers, which some of whom are military officers, while others were civilians. So most of these ministers were military men, and we have the just added few civilians. And the council perform executive functions with the president as chairman of the council. We also had the National Council of States. The National Council of States, it is composed of the head of state, that is the president, or head of state or president, chief of general staff, Minister of Defense, Service Chief of the Army, and we also have the Navy, the Air Force, the Inspector General of Police, Attorney General, and all military governors. So all these people that I've mentioned now belong to the National Council of States. They also have some function. The council was charged with coordination and ammunition of the work of the various state governments and the federal military governments. The judiciary it remained the same in the civilian era, with Chief Justice as the head. Inclusive are various tribunals which had judges and military officers as members. They also at the civil service sector, the secretary to the military government is head of the public service. They also have the director general. Generals replaced the permanent secretaries by the 1988 civil service reform. Now, that's happened to be the structure of the military regime. Now we want to look at the weaknesses of military government in Nigeria. This is kind of like the disadvantages of military government in Nigeria. You know, everything that has positivity also has its own negativity. So the first one there is that the military personnel are incompetent and inexperienced. So as a result of that, they lack both administrative and political experience to govern because they are not, trained to govern. They don't know anything about governance. So they had the power. So they are making use of the power and they are running the government the way they know how to run it according to their military experiences. Now the second weakness is there is that the military regime. Okay, now we continue from where, okay, yes, number two now, the military regime does not tolerate criticism and does not give room for public opinion. That is, the military regime, they don't consult, they don't even there's no room for maybe they want to bring out a policy, give it out to people. Okay, what do you want to listen to what people say about it? They only move forward once they decided on what to do. They don't consult, or rather give room for the civilian to make any comments about their government. So another weakness is that all military administration are dictatorship, whereby they rule by decrees and edicts that cannot be challenged. So this is also a disadvantage or weakness to military government, whereby they don't have good listening skill. They are not even listening to. There's not even room to even listen to people about the challenge of the government or what they are doing. So the military government administration is always dictatorship. Another weakness is that there was no independence of the judiciary. There's no even who will you even give judgment to? So there's no independence of judiciary. And moving on from there, we also have the military rule was responsible for the civil war that claimed millions of lives between 1967 and 1970. So military rule was actually the one who prompted, or was one of the set of sectors who were responsible for the civil war, which claims millions of lives between 1967 and 1970. Another weakness is that the military regime leaders were corrupted. Yes, they were corrupted. Even to today, you can see that we are still recovering back. Sonny Abacha's looted money to US, and who knows how many other military um, head of state who has looted money like that we don't even know about. So another weakness is that the military mismanaged and wasted the public fund. Yes, because they don't actually have the know-how or the knowledge of how the government is being run. So they actually mismanaged and wasted the country's fund. That weakness is that the military rule is mostly noted for violation of the fundamental human rights. As a result, there was nothing like fundamental human rights at that time. So they make use of violence in everything. That weakness is that it is undemocratic. Military rule is undemocratic. Then the last one there is failure to conduct reliable and acceptable census. That is, the census that was conducted in 1962 and 1963 were cancelled due to the fact that it was alleged that there is inflated figures in the results. So as a result of that, they failed, to conduct a reliable and acceptable census. So now these are the pictures of the past head of state, including the military head of state. You can see the first one here with my cursor, that is Dr. Nnamdi Azikwe, followed by General Agui Rosi, Rabbi Yakubu Gowon, Murtala Muhammad, General Olusegun Obasanjo. Then the Second Republic that sits to the leadership of Alhaji Shehu Shagari, seen here. Then followed by General Muhammadu Buhari, followed by General Ibrahim Babangida. This is the interim government, that is Chief Ernest Shonekom, followed by um, uh, General Sonia Abacha here. which died on 8 June 8th, 1998. And then this is the person who took over from General Sani Abacha, that is General Salam Abubakar, who actually handed over the mantle to the civilian government, and this that ceased to the leadership of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo between 1999 to 2007, and handed over to Alhaji Umaru Yar'Adua, who died as the president, and handed over to Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan took over from him, and many more like that. Now, Buhari is back as the head of state. Now, I hope you guys actually understand everything. It's a long one, but make sure you actually go through it down. I have a test for you. It's a scramble test. You can see the pictures of people that are here in your notes. I want you to rearrange the those people it ought to be. I don't mean, it's not possible for you to make use of that picture, but if you can, I will actually appreciate it. That is the first, talking about the first republic, who was the leader, then the first military head of state. All of them, they are all here. I will not point them, but I want you to do this scramble test, put them accordingly, according to the years which they served. You can see it's been scattered. So look for the first person to the last person. So I want you to do that in this scramble test. So when we see, I'll be expecting to see this in your, okay, let me just do it like this. Do it in your notes, screenshot, snap it, and send it to my WhatsApp number. Do the scramble test. If you can be able to point this out, just the pictures, cut it out, write their names at the base, write their name and the year they served, and rearrange it in your notes as this was rearranged. As you know, this one here is being arranged very well. So I want you to rearrange this scramble like that. Paste it on your notes, and send it to my number on WhatsApp on 080 34215026. 080 34215026. 5026 is a test. So make sure you do the scramble test. So thank you. My name is Mr. Falade. This is where we're going to be stopping. So this video is a long one. Make sure you take pain to watch the video, and I pray God bless you all. Bye for now.